All right, we got everything fixed now. We're back.
We're back.
We just had our buddy Josh come in and fix us up. That was, goodness gracious, that was a trial. Anyway, guys, like I said, we have eBurner and Promise in the studio today. Super happy that they're here. Lauren,
hey.
Thank you for bringing them here to us. Thank you for fetching these guys.
And thank you
For reeling them in for us.
It's quite fetching, yeah.
For those of you who have not heard our past interview with Curtis Lee, who Lauren had brought us last time. I feel like I should not say brought us.
Lauren Lyman
weird.
and the Teenagers.
Right?
Back to my joke. Can't get rid of my Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers.
But Lauren runs OthersideAustin here in Austin, Texas.
Shout out.
Public relations and all that stuff. Anything crazy or fun or big going on over at Otherside and the artists that you're working with?
Actually, well, other than Curtis, just he's got his new album coming out.
Yes.
But
we're ready.
So excited.
Yeah.
It's not a Christmas album like we wanted, but that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he'll ever do that, but dang it.
If he does, he needs to have like a polar bear rug he needs to lay on with like some roses.
With his hat.
Yes. Nothing but his hat and that polar
jeez. Oh, no.
I'm sorry. No, that's terrible.
But I'm also...
I hope he hears this.
Oh, he will.
He probably will. I'm also working on a day festival. Actually, that's happening next week.
Yes.
The 24th, Sunday, March 24th.
Congo Square,
yeah,
ATX.
It's my story. Hold on. I'm going to be doing this throughout the entire podcast. He's always
That's what podcasting
me.
is. It's couples talking over each other.
He's my boyfriend. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna.
She just wants to whip me. It ain't going to happen.
But it's also my story, so...
I'm only supporting.
I know.
He's your hype man.
He is. Yeah. No. I love my man. He's just, I give him, we're like a bickering,
old couple?
Ongoing bickering old couple. Yeah, I'd say so.
What's that you say?
Because he's an old man. No, he has an old soul. But anyway, the festival's next Sunday, March 24th, and it's going to be at the Vortex.
Nice.
And it's a drum circle event, and also there's live music. So it's basically... Congo Square ATX. It's kind of carrying on the tradition of the original Congo Square, which is in New Orleans, but it's also kind of an African roots gathering.
Nice.
That goes back even further than that. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of, she's just trying to create, LV Schooley is the director, and she's just kind of trying to recreate that tradition. She's done it for 3 years. This is the third one. And so that's been fun. I've just been doing the social media, website stuff, putting up the blog for her, PR as well. And there hasn't, unfortunately, it seems like it's hard to get people excited about that part of Austin and culture.
Right.
So that's been kind of a trial, I'd say. That's been a challenge this year.
Just shame, because it is just as much as part of the music scene,
right?
Yeah.
As
anything
the bars
else.
Downtown or the clubs or what have you, right?
Right.
So that's a shame, but I think it's awesome that there's somebody out there who's looking to keep those traditions alive.
Agreed.
And kind of keep up with that history. So, but awesome, yeah. That sounds like something that's pretty pretty awesome to be a part of and get going. So
yeah,
I mean, just having. I don't want to use the word advocate, but just having somebody else out there who's pushing to make sure that stuff happens is pretty awesome. So
she's definitely an advocate for sure. That's like her personality. I always love her for that too. So it's like she definitely advocates good stuff. And I think Congo Square is definitely a worthwhile experience. I mean, it sounds like a lot of fun for everyone to enjoy.
Yeah, it's gonna be Kiko Villamizar. He's a Colombian musician. He's got this big band that's going to be headlining the event. And then Rollin' in the Roots Rhythm, I did PR for him for a few months. It's a reggae band. So nice. So like there's reggae, there's Colombian music, there's Shango Deli. He's a Grammy-winning percussionist.
Oh, wow.
So I think he's going to be leading the drum circles. And it's also, audience participation. There's an artisan market. And so it's going to be a really fun event at the Vortex from 12 to 8, like an all-day thing.
Okay.
And was there a website that you'd want to send them to if they wanted to look up any information or anything like that?
Yep. So it's drumtheprogram.org. So it's presented by that organization, Drum the Program.
Awesome. And the full lineup's on there, and they can see who all's performing.
Yeah.
Dope. That sounds awesome.
Thank you for asking for all that info.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I know this podcast goes outside the walls of Austin, but anybody who is coming into town, if they want to see why we call ourselves the live music capital of the world, all that information needs to be out there. So
Right.
I'm more than happy to put that out there. So
Truth.
but Lauren, as much as we love talking to you, I want to point the attention to the two gentlemen that we have in the room. We have eBurner, local DJ, local producer, fourth generation Austinite.
Fourth generation.
Probably the
Dang.
rarest title I've ever heard for somebody from Austin, Texas.
Yes.
4 generations.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody else is a transplant.
Yeah, there was
so.
a funny thing about that actually was it was senior year of high school. There was a big alumni ceremony at Austin High. Austin High is one of the oldest high schools west of the Mississippi. My mom was she was there in attendance to not just see me perform, but just be a part of it as she was an alumnus at that high school.
That's so crazy.
And she wanted me to get up right when they said, second generation students, please stand up. And she was like, get up. I'm like, wait. I was like, didn't you say 4? And, and she's like, no. I was like, you're second generation, get up. I'm like, okay, what? I ended up getting up on the 4th because that's what I thought, because I'm just a little bullheaded sometimes like that. But so that's actually how I discovered that I'm 4th generation Austinite, but I'm also 2nd generation Austin High kid.
That's
Wow,
interesting.
That's pretty crazy. That's a badge of honor nowadays with so many people coming to. What is it, like 100 families coming to Austin every single day?
Yeah.
According to Mayor Adler at the recent SoundSync meetup that he and I were in attendance to, he said there's like easily 1,700 people come in a day.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Day.
That's
in
so
the thousands now.
Right.
We're in the
That's
thousands.
insane.
Yeah, that's. I mean, we love our town, but if you come here for a festival or an event or something like that, go home.
Yeah.
Please.
Sorry.
Promise you can stay. We'll keep you.
Yeah,
we'll keep
there
you.
are some people worthwhile, like my buddy. I was gonna say Toronto. Mixing the words Toronto and Promise together.
To promise.
To promise.
Promise, or something like that. Sorry.
It sounds like an African, to promise.
The Promise.
Dances with wolves.
To you as well.
Bring it to my people.
But also we have all the way from Toronto, Canada.
Yes.
The 6, as they like to call it. Yes, am I correct in saying that? I don't listen to enough Drake.
That's what they like to call it.
That's what they like to call it. We have Promise all the way from Toronto, Canada. Thank you for gracing our city and being here for South by and thank you for being here as well.
Thank you for having us.
No, I'm super excited to have you here. So let me throw this question out to the both of you. Let me start with Evan real quick. I myself am a DJ as well, not on the scale as you or anybody else, who's actually performing. I'm just, weddings and parties and that
you
sort
get
of
paid
thing.
for those
I
gigs.
do get paid,
Yeah,
yes,
really.
I do.
It's
But
no judgments here.
I'm just, I'm not as much a creator as I am a guy who knows how to pick music at a party. So,
Gotcha.
Listen, you'd be surprised how hard that is to come by. Okay.
sometimes, yes, sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
But
It's an
that being
art.
said, there's always a name behind a stage name. There's always something. There's always something that led up to you calling yourself eBurner, and we're curious as to what that is for you.
The story originally started with a nickname given to me by my former New York boss. She described my personality by giving me this nickname called General LC, and that was actually my first producer name as an artist as well.
Let me interrupt you real quick. When you say New York boss, you're not talking. You weren't part of the mafia, were you?
We're about to be best friends, buddy.
I can't talk to you about
Okay,
this.
all right, fair enough, fair enough.
We're just gonna have to graze this one over, my buddy. We're gonna have to graze that one over, AC. Can't talk about it. No, I'm just kidding. No, she was just a performing arts center box office. I just worked in the pack, as we called it, and she was really super cool. She was a local Long Island girl. Not Rhode Island, as we were talking about. People know the difference.
They don't.
That's
the problem.
Well, the problem is that Rhode Island is so small that you don't even know you went through it.
Thank you.
Hey,
I keep
it takes
telling
you at
her.
least 45 minutes to an hour to get through the whole state, okay?
I tell her that
That's
when they
enough
did the
time.
state
True.
quarters, the size of Rhode Island on that state quarter was actual size.
Whatever.
Respect to the little state.
Right?
To the little guys. To the
Right.
little guys.
I mean,
so
that's where my family's at.
This
so.
is Texas elitism. So
Whatever.
sorry.
Whatever.
believe me, as a Texan, I just want to get out of it when I'm driving through. I'm just like, are we done yet? No.
Yeah,
no.
there's a lot of it.
It's long-winded.
Yes.
So going back to the
Sorry,
story.
go ahead.
But long-winded indeed. So she gave me the first name, General LC, which stands for loose cannon. I thought that was pretty cool, but after working out the music, it kind of my name gave me a mindset. It was more hip hop oriented. So I was just like, I'm not going to be rapping. I'm not that good. My voice sounds weird when it's recording as I'm hearing my voice now. I was like, no. So I went with another name, and I was at home when I came back from New York, and I looked at, we have lots of Apple computers at our house. So we had this old eMac, which stands for the educational Mac. It was something that we got because it was cheap and it was really good. And that kind of inspired me one day to like, I want to do something like that. Something that's a name that's underrated or unknown, underground, and kind of attach that because I affiliate to that kind of mindset.
Right.
And I'm also, I don't know if I can talk about this, like pot, you know.
No, go
Yeah.
ahead. This
Yeah,
is
free range. Okay,
Yes.
so yeah, and I was very much a pothead. Still smoke my weed. I enjoy my good share of green tea. So yeah, I kind of combined those two names and gave myself that. And I felt that this time the name wasn't limiting as General LC was, and I like that.
That's man. Yeah, no, I was right. There was a story behind it.
It is quite a story.
Yeah, so I mean, what was that like? You know, having to get out of that habit of like, okay, I'm not. Let me ask you this: is as a DJ and a producer, is General LC, was that a different guy compared to who eBurner is today?
Ooh,
Easily.
That's a good
Yeah.
question.
Easily.
What would you say is the biggest difference?
The difference is clarity. With General LC, there was a fogginess. I could go like in this weird direction that would go nowhere. And one of the things is that I find important about music, period, like no question, is that music has to go somewhere. It has to have some meaning, even if the meaning itself is to be intentionally an enigma. A strange, unusual mystery, mystique, you know?
Would you say like kind of like a story? There has to be a beginning, a middle, and end, almost something like that.
Easily, absolutely. It has to in some form or fashion, and it has to make sense to everybody. And does everyone like it? We're not going to get into that topic,
Right.
But does it make sense? Absolutely. And that's what I wanted my name and my music to achieve. With General LC, it wasn't getting there. So.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
He's still a loose cannon as a person.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
That won't change.
Yeah, I'm sure General LC,
Oh,
he
my
lives
God.
somewhere
He's a
deep down in
man.
your heart.
No,
If you believe hard enough.
Oh yeah,
It's
no.
away from him.
He's
a
like
lot.
Santa.
He's like there's
Comes
days-
once a year, bring milk and cookies.
There you go.
there's
Almond milk,
there's
I'm
days
lactose
where
intolerant.
Yeah, make sure you leave out the cookies and the almond milk for General LC. All right.
Unless you want a bathroom incident, in which case bring what are the Wellis system for cleaning?
Oh, Fabuloso.
Oh,
Fabuloso.
God.
Then bring the
Cleans amazing.
Fabuloso with
Oh
bleach.
my
Fabuloso,
gosh.
not a sponsor, but if you'd like to, come on round.
Yeah, I used to use that when I cleaned houses in San Marcos. That was very.
It
you know,
works great.
I mean, every time I smell it now, I'm gonna think of that. I'm gonna think of that time, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he's a loose cannon out the mouth and out the other end.
Promise, tell your story now.
All right. Yeah, sorry, Promise. You have to follow that, but no. Same question to you. Where did Promise come from?
Well, Promise is actually my first name. My last name is
No joke.
Shepherd.
I was
My
gonna
full
ask.
name is on Wikipedia, so I don't mind sharing it, I guess. Promise Jason Jamal Shepherd, which all together means like covenant, healer of beauty.
Yes.
Nice.
And Shepherd is a leader, so
like
Promise is from Bible, Christian,
Right.
promise of God, which is the Holy Spirit, which was given to people to comfort with words of wisdom and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I equate it to, I guess, God's gift to lead people and heal through beauty.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's really
also
good.
speaks to like a lot of my early songs, not purposely, but after I found out like the meaning of my name and look back,
Yeah.
a lot of my songs are like speaking for women, empowering women and stuff like that.
I've noticed
That's
that.
Not that
Yeah.
not that like
that it's a
that
bad
wasn't
thing.
the
Yeah.
purpose,
Right.
but when I look back, I'm like, oh wow, okay, so I really do that.
Yeah.
I like
You
it.
channeled in that higher
It
power,
makes
my
sense,
friend.
I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly, exactly.
And as a
like-
person, he is very supportive of women. So
Yeah, I can tell from a lot of the music that we
Yeah.
listen to, and we'll talk about
Shameless
that.
plug.
Go ahead.
I too am working on a festival.
Nice.
Oh, go ahead, yeah.
July.
Yeah.
First female-focused festival of its kind in Toronto.
Oh wow.
It's going to be showcasing about 25 artists. I got
Oh, wow.
industry professionals from Hip Hop DX, YouTube, and the likes of such female industry professionals from presidents to head of promotions to blah, 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 coming through to share and impart knowledge into anyone who's coming. There's also going to be a couple like guest performances for males, like because I didn't want it to be like segregating.
Exclusive.
Right.
Female, like, oh, here's a
Right.
girl show. You
Yeah.
guys can do that, and then just go back to regular programming. Because
Right.
part of why I wanted to do this is so to showcase the talent that is there, not getting acknowledged, but also to integrate into what's going on. So hopefully, after that, more people will do more things like that,
Right.
and all these tours that are following will start including
Wow.
more female artists. I know it's super hard for many reasons, pros and cons, many reasons, but like it's possible and it should happen.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I do that too when I do shows in Austin. I'm all about finding fellow female electronic artists,
Yeah.
producers. I don't I don't want to just be a bunch of guys on the stage either.
Right.
I want to balance it out. I want
yeah,
to bring
I'm witness
awesome.
to that. He'll be
That's
like,
awesome.
I was booking a few shows at one point, and then he said, "You got to get some women in there." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. You
Yeah.
know, I'm glad that he was like the first one to think about that too. I mean, because it's not like I wasn't trying to. It was just more like it. You know, it's just I was just trying to get people that
Right.
were available.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know?
Because
That's
it
awesome.
still seems like the music industry can, for the most part, still be a boys' club.
Right.
Yep.
It is a
Right.
boys' club.
Yeah.
Even as a guy, I'm kind of like, okay,
I have so
I
much to
really-
vent about that.
I really
Lauren-
don't
Lauren's
want.
If
like,
you feel
let's
like this is
not-
the place, we're open to it.
I was just gonna say, Lauren's like, you are preaching to the choir over here.
Thank you, and I really appreciate you, AC and Steph, of y'all giving me that platform to talk about that, and we'll talk about that soon. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
just
Check
yeah.
out the exclusive Lauren Lyman interview coming soon.
Come soon.
But no, promise, yeah, like I love that he's doing that festival. That's awesome.
That is
that's
really cool.
beautiful, man. That's
Yep.
that's awesome. Man, I mean, this is just to have be not just being such an artist that the spotlight needs to be on me all the time,
Right.
And I think there's a lot of performers and there's a lot of people who are in these artistic spaces who can be pretty egotistical and just be like, look at my art, look at my stuff. I think it's pretty awesome that there are people out there who are trying to include
Right.
people who otherwise would not get the spotlight. That's pretty awesome. So Evan, let me start with this. Man, just watching your YouTube videos and just listening to your music, whether it's Spotify or whatever, between the electronic music and then using traditional instruments. First of all, where did that come from? Like, where did your I don't want to call it an obsession or a need, but where did that come from as far as wanting to play multiple traditional instruments?
It is an obsession. No. It's just that's the root. That's just where I started out. 7 years old, I started violin. Around 10 years old, I was playing my brother's guitar, and my uncle Raymond gave me one of his keyboards at 11, and I started tinkering with that. I just taught myself. Aside from the violin, I had like only a month on guitar, but I just taught myself how to play all of these different instruments. Eventually, piano, double bass, and then kind of tinkering with a cello and then a viola. But
So how many in total?
A total of 6 drums as well. That would be the 6th. Nice. I had a band in middle school with my friend Riley and Rainan, and we did this project that I had a concept for. I made up a word that actually ended up being a real word called I just ended up misspelling it, called collude. And I learned how to play drums and bass in that, but I was really the guitarist and songwriter. And then doing other things afterwards. And going to college, especially, you know, my violin teacher told me, Evan, just learn composition. You don't follow the rules, and you play all these instruments. just learn how to write songs, man. Just go to college and do that. I'm like, okay, I'll take your word. And he's right. I just had a lot of fun just writing for all these different instruments, and that really clicked. So when I went to England, learning music technology, I mean, you tinker on your own with GarageBand, but that really opened Pandora's box for me for that. And
Absolutely.
that was really cool. Recording technology, engineering, live sound, all the different DAWs we could use, even though we really just use Logic Pro because England just loves Logic Pro, man. Apple really did good. Yeah, man. So they love Logic, but I learned Ableton, and then after that Reason, and those were all different cool sounds. And and knowing that I can incorporate real instruments, not giving this entirely synthetic feel in electronic music, because even when you listen back on the old electronic music, the beginning stuff, like the really cool popular stuff from the 80s and 90s, they put real instruments in there. They had real analog gear in there, in real guitars or drum sets sometimes. So I felt like this art should not be lost in the electronic method. You know, all these guys doing, like, you know, Skrillex or Calvin Harris, not hating on entirely music except for Skrillex. Skrillex is just awful.
I remember when that all came out.
But you know, like, but other guys like Calvin Harris, he makes some good stuff. Or rest in peace, Avicii. You know, Disclosure, they're really good.
Yeah.
They actually do incorporate real instruments. Subtract, he incorporated real instruments. Bonobo, he has like live bands. So there, I knew that this was possible, and I knew that this art, and they're right, this art should not be lost. And I knew I had to carry that torch as well, at least here in the southern region of the U.S. Because there's other cats that are repping really well, East Coast, North, Central, or West Coast, plenty West Coast. But what about here in the South?
Right.
Nobody really solid. So I hope to cut through that.
Gonna shift the attention a little bit.
Yeah.
Promise.
My boy.
You know, I gotta ask you, man. You're from Toronto. You're from Canada. Let me ask you this. So, is Toronto the hip hop central for Canada? I mean, you have Drake coming out of there, of course.
Definitely.
We don't know.
Definitely.
100%. There's no like
100%.
no
all.
subcultures or other cities that you know have.
I mean, there's other tiny scenes, other places, but nothing like Toronto.
Yeah, it's explosive like that, like nothing.
Toronto's the spot for everything.
Right. It's kind of the, I guess, would you compare it to the Nashville for country music? Just kind of everybody congregates there.
Yeah, as much as, like, you know, the music scene isn't as big as it may seem online, but it's definitely especially for urban and pop and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So when you take a look at, you know, U.S. rap, it feels like depending on what part of the country you're in, you have guys that you look up to. If you look at West Coast guys, they look up to Snoop Dogg, they look up to NWA, those guys. If you're on the East Coast, if you're New York, you look up to Rakim, you look up to Jay-Z. For Canadian rappers, who's that Mount Rushmore for you guys? Is it still being built?
That's a tough one, man.
I guess everybody 27 and under, Drake is all they might even know.
Right.
Anyone older than that knows hip hop. Not that Drake's not hip hop, but like knows decades or years back when the first rapper was in Canada, and might call a name like Socrates or Maestro. I think he was the first to bring rap to television in America, I guess, from Canada. So Socrates, Maestro, Cardinal Official.
No.
Probably one of the first to like go mainstream when he signed with Akon, and you know, there's others as Dream Warriors and a bunch of groups and things like that. But I mean, those would probably be the first names, I think.
Right. Do you see do you see a growth in rappers and in the hip hop scene in Toronto that you think could rival, an Atlanta or an Oakland or a New York? Do you see that potentially getting to that point? Do you think the level of talent? You don't think so?
I think the level of talent is better than anywhere else, but originality in hip hop,
wow,
I don't see
Okay.
wow
much.
All right.
I see like maybe 2 or 3 artists that are talented and original.
And this is why I love him.
Everybody else either sounds like Drake or sounds like trap mumble rap. We're on the block or we're in jail and we're trying to make a mixtape, or you know what I'm saying, like that vibe, which is cool for somebody,
right?
I guess.
Someone's listening to it.
Yeah, they got followers on Instagram, so people like it.
Well, let me ask you this then. As a rapper who is also a husband and a father, and from what we can gather, a man of faith, when you take a look at guys like Lil Pump, Lil Xan, 6ix9ine, guys like that, does it frustrate you what the potential future of hip hop could be if that's the route that we're taking?
Yeah, no, I mean, I just think it's right now. That's not the future. Like,
you don't think so?
I'm not worried. I can already see the decline. Whether it's because people are like actually thinking or because they're all getting locked up, I don't really care. But I see a brighter future, so
It's
like I don't
the
care.
Lord's hand and everything.
Yeah, suddenly people are getting locked up and charged, and I'm like, put them away. That's how I
Bye.
I don't care. Like for me, I'm like, no disrespect to anybody who's like free so and so, but did he do the crime?
Right.
Yep.
That's the big question.
That's just what it is. It's the law. Like,
But did he do it?
you know what I'm saying? So I've gotten tickets that I didn't like, but if I did it, I had to pay it. It's just what it is.
Right.
You reap what you sow.
When you think about those guys who really pay no respect to lyrical talent, you think that's fading away, and you think who are some guys who stick to that lyrical path, who are new guys, who do you think could be the future of hip hop?
I don't really. I'm not that really deep rooted in hip hop to answer on a whim, so I don't know if I listen to anything. It's more so singing stuff.
Okay.
Like I'm a songwriter at heart, so while I rap, I'm a songwriter first. So I really, truthfully, 100% transparency, I really only rap because I'm a way better rapper than singer.
That's fair. Hey,
I like rap,
Right.
and I love hip hop and everything. However, if I was equally as good at singing, I may be a singer who can rap.
Right.
Fonte.
Exactly. One of my favorites, Fonte, Chaos. A lot of my favorites are equally talented at both those things. So that's like my lane. Like while I love hip hop, don't get me wrong, but like when I don't know if you guys know, but when they were mad at Lupe Fiasco when he was, I think he was doing the Grammys or something like that, and he's like redoing Tribe and he messed up a lyric or something. I was like, I probably wouldn't even be able to take the gig because let alone trying to memorize my lyrics, like memorize something that I might not have listened to. Like I know the hits, but I don't know the deep catalog. You're going to get mad at me if I mess up a lyric? Like that's intense.
Right. So then if you're more of a songwriter, and I kind of got that vibe when you kind of listen to when you're listening to a Promise song, the music doesn't feel like a rap song. Like it doesn't feel like a hip hop song. Definitely not, a modern day one. So take me through, what starts off, where is the genesis of a Promise song? What
music.
Is it a word, just the music itself?
Yeah, the vibe.
So
right, always.
So then let me ask you this: is that why, you just as an example, when you're working with Evan and the things that he's putting out, is that the kind of things that kind of gets the lyrics flowing in you, just kind of like what you want to start putting down on paper, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I listen to the vibe that I'm getting from the chords or the rhythm.
That's right.
And I go from there, and rhythmically I map out what it feels like, how I would bounce around on it, and then what I feel will dictate what the song's about. That's how I usually work, as opposed, or sometimes the producer, and I like when they name the beats. Sometimes that might click. I don't like getting the like beat 2847. It's like, okay, so I got to do all the work.
fine.
I got to.
It's all
okay,
just
and that's fine.
cataloged, dated.
Just,
I'm
just
sorry.
know that you're a beat maker and not a producer
Right.
at all. Okay,
Ooh.
which is fine.
And the
But-
funny thing is, he's asking me to work on this track that kind of got him inspired with a particular vibe. And when we just picked up the Willie's Barbecue on the way over here, I saw this nice graffiti title that just resonated between what Promise and I share interest wise. And that in this phrase said, what was it? Love must be real.
Yeah.
Love must be real.
That's good.
And I was just like, that is the title of the track.
That's awesome.
And I just got to get that vibe now to where he likes it and it definitely matches that. And that's why I like working with Promise, because we understand like it's all about the vibe. And that way everything just unravels.
That's awesome.
And side note, I was really interested to see how the process was going to work because on one of Curtis's new songs, which you heard a live version of
Yes.
at his last show, "Mess in These Streets."
Yes. Oh my goodness gracious, we were obsessed with that for days. We still are. But anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's it's a monster of a song, but it's of course on paper, if you will, on the track itself. I mean, it's a little more chill. I'd say it's a lot more chill, but still, there's so much heat behind it too.
Yeah.
And then we sent it to Promise to do a verse, to rap a verse, and I was like, wow, how's this gonna? I wonder how this is gonna happen. When he sent it back and we listened, I was like, that's cool, man. Like
That's awesome.
it's
Wow.
gonna be great.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, if we could send y'all maybe that MP3, maybe you could play a little bit of it for the podcast.
Please.
Yeah, it'd be
I'll
dope.
send it to you right now from my Google Drive.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do
We
a clip.
Thank you very
that.
much.
It's unreleased, but if you want to do a clip of it, so
Okay.
We absolutely can.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Promise. So you came here to Austin. How many South bys have you done so far?
Over 10.
Over 10.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dang.
Golly. Let me ask you, as somebody on the outside, we like to call ourselves the live music capital of the world. Do you feel like that's pretty accurate?
No, it wasn't until I think yesterday that I actually found that fact to be true.
Really?
It's Googleable. I did not know. We were thinking, both Daniel and I were thinking it would be Nashville
Right.
to be anything to do with music. Although actually I did hear that a few South bys ago about it, but I didn't understand why. Because I only know it for South by, right? So,
Right.
And when anybody thinks music in America, usually they say
Nashville, right.
That's where the labels are. That's where the publishing companies are. That's where all these things
yeah,
supposedly
all
are.
the
But,
licensing companies.
but
Right.
according to Google and Wikipedia, that the name is because you have the most live venues per capita.
And I just don't think that we need to rely on these infrastructures just to get things done in music.
Oh, asking this question to Evan, yeah, he's cynical as so let him give his cynicism right now, because he's like, I hate that slogan, live music capital of the world.
I know, I really do. As we all been shocked and awed with me being a fourth generation Austinite, my mom and dad tell of tales of Austin's music scene back in the 70s. So I get to hear a lot of what was, and my Uncle Raymond as well. He was very proactive. And I'd like to befriend with older people, because I feel it's important as a young person. If I want to go anywhere in life, I got to learn from the past.
Same.
So I like to also hear from other people, and I've actually ran into my friend Pops, who
Just before we came here,
when we came to go to the store to get a few snacks, iced coffee and all that, he was there going to the store, and he just absolutely hates what South by Southwest has become.
he's our 68-year-old sage. Like, he's just like,
Because he's
so
been
y'all are the same.
we are. No, we were literally born the same day,
Oh,
June
wow.
11th. Yeah,
Wow.
he's precisely.
You look great for 68. No.
Oh, well, thank you. But going back to my point here with hearing the tales from him, my uncle, my parents, Austin definitely did have something. And case in point, my mom's cousin, Mike Taylor, the late Mike Taylor, he was actually Austin's first black person to be a rock radio DJ in Austin. And he did such a success that he ended up working for a record label. But of course, it was the 70s, so, you know, like he had his own little Studio 54 kind of experience, and that got the better of him, so he didn't stay long in the record industry. But my mom definitely got to see a lot of cool shows, see a lot of what was done. My uncle was working a lot behind the scenes. He was a session drummer and then consulting, working with producers. But Austin, after that, pretty much at the 80s, it just died down. And it was just more of a squabble between venues and the city government, and just trying to figure out how, you know, can we keep the fire burning? And that's been a head scratcher for years. But the problem is the biggest issue, it goes back to the venues, and they all play the same music. My mom keeps telling me, Evan, Austin is SOS. Same old shit. Rock, blues, and soul. Or no, I'm sorry. Rock, blues, and country. I wish there was soul. I was going to say. Rock, blues, and country. Soul? I've been saying soul a lot. Rock, blues, and soul a lot because there's been a lot of bands we've been seeing that do that.
themselves that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's been rock, blues, and country, folk singer-songwriter stuff. It's been the same stuff. And
it's hard to find the electronic scene here. Yeah.
Like hip-hop scene.
Hip-hop
rap.
alone.
Yeah.
I mean,
Small.
you want that, you go to Houston for that.
Right.
And I was like, wait, what? Why? Yeah. Can it just be in every city that feels it and expresses their own way? As a kid, I wanted to hear like someone like Bone Thugs and Harmony when I was a kid. Or Cypress Hill. Ooh. You know? Granted, I wouldn't be smoking the pot then, but at least I would have something fun like those guys. And, you know, there was no electronic groups like Chemical Brothers or Crystal Method or Prodigy for me. It's just rock, and particularly of the 90s and early 2000s, it was punk and metal. And I'm like, I don't have anger problems like these guys. I'm sorry. I do and I don't. Not that bad. I don't have daddy issues where I go run and rampage and mosh, okay? So that
I told
was
you
just...
it was a loose cannon. By the way.
So are you saying this is indicative of the whole music scene, or just South by Southwest?
This is the whole music scene. So, but South by Southwest became just a corporate enigma.
Right.
It moved away from the local support that it was doing, and apparently, from what we've heard, that this year they wanted to be more locally focused, music wise.
Did you see that though this year?
Actually, yes.
You saw the effort.
The effort, but you know, there wasn't so much enough outreach from them to other Austin musicians to be like, hey guys, you're on this list with like AMF, you know, or Ham and something else. You know, let's get you.
Yeah, it's not
you guys didn't get out there. You weren't a part of it.
No, we didn't get a chance to.
You definitely see it and feel it even if you haven't been there before, but you look at like the headliners and you see like the surprise special guests who came out, like Nelly, DMX, and Big Boy. No disrespect to those artists because you know they can do what they do, but it's 2019,
Yeah.
So
back in high school now.
Yes,
right.
It's not
I feel
Throwback
like
Thursday
time capsule.
Nelly was my shit. Yeah, I was like, that was.
Do you think there's any other festivals that are trying to pick up the slack for those other genres, like Euphoria Fest or anything like that? Or,
I mean, Euphoria Fest is purely like psychedelic themed. They have a theme, so I mean, electronic music is and always has been psychedelic in nature, depending upon the energy that it brings with that aesthetic.
I think some cool things are going on over at Come and Take It Live for hip hop.
Yes.
I'd say that's been a nice venue for them for us, you know.
Yeah.
And I plan to like link up with them too. Yeah, I mean, and that's just around the corner from our place on the east side.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it's just, there's very few venues. I think, and like we said, it's the live music capital. I would say the live music venue capital of the world. You
That's
know,
a little
so
bit more accurate.
you have to go for the venues that will support you.
Right.
And give you a stage constantly, a residency. And that way you build a scene.
Yeah.
And without that, you don't have a scene. And everyone's just kind of lost in the mix, and then the blues, country, and rock takes over. Forever.
And there is, with Come and Take It Live, it comes originally from, more of the metal punk scene. But, for those who really, knew music history with punk, hip hop was closely tied with that.
Yeah, they shared the same venues, actually, traditionally in New York City.
Yeah, the fact that they did that was, like, punk really cool. Right. I was like, oh, great for them for doing that. And there is only one place that's, like, truly electronic in town, but it's so small. It's like, why bother? Because it's not enough room for people to dance, because electronic music is supposed to be, very kinetic for the listener to get up and have some fun, or even just lay back and chill. But it's a very tiny place called Plush. I love it, but it's just so tiny and, really, really ratchet.
Yeah.
So
it's the ratchet side of.
So you can't be like super comfortable when you want to
EDM.
like chill, and but
I'd say Come and Take It Live also is taking over on that too, because they have the silent disco parties where you put on your headphones and no one speaks to each other. You just dance and listen to the music. I think that's how it goes, and I've been meaning to go to one of those.
Yeah,
so that's kind of cool. I want to check that out.
That sounds cool.
All right, I got one more question for Promise, and then we're gonna play a game. We cool?
Yeah.
So tell us about you were telling us earlier you've been putting out content once a month once a month on your Instagram leading up to this to a new album, correct?
No, actually, it's part of a kind of like a campaign idea that I had, and I said, let me kind of like beta test it. And so I've been giving my core fan base a song a month since last January. And as of this year, I released, because I'm constantly making music. I do music full time, so like I'm always recording, and I own my own studio, and I'm writing for other artists as well, and I have so much music, so I'm like, let me figure out a way that I can get the music to the people. I've been signed 4 times, and labels suck, and so I'm just giving it directly to the people now, and just trying that and seeing how it goes and seeing how people appreciate it and whatnot. And I wanted to share some new music that I did last year that kind of speaks about my life a little bit more, and where I've been these past few years, what's happened, stuff like that. Because a lot of people who know my music, they've asked. I kind of put it out there a lot, like, what do you guys want to hear, like, because I can write about anything. A lot of people are saying, well, we want to hear about you and your life and your family. We love your kids and blah blah blah. And that's actually, we're working on that too, because we did a children's album last year, and we kind of beta tested that in Canada, and we're like, well, let's see if people really want this, and we sold out. We're like, oh, okay, let's do it. We did an EP, so we have a full family album that we're going to be releasing this year, and I have an album that's family focused, kind of like hip hop, kind of like Common meets J. Cole and Drake type vibe.
I've heard some of the songs. Yeah, it's so good. I love it.
So there's that, the 2 albums. My wife has an EP, and she's working on another EP. We have an album together, her and I, and we have like a coloring and activity book that the kids are putting together with story as well, type thing. So like a whole family package type thing, right?
That's cool.
Yeah. So people, we get most of the looks now on like social media and everything when we do family stuff and our kids and everything like that. So
I definitely noticed that on your Instagram. You have your kids, and then you had a whole video.
Oh yes. Oh, and we filmed the show. We have a season full of episodes that we've been working on and editing, and I taught myself how to edit last year.
Nice.
So, I've been working on that as well. So we have that to release as well with the whole family push when we do that.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's really cool. So, man, we'd have to check all that out. Especially, I mean, it's just awesome. Like your music already is, I don't want to say family friendly, but it's it kind of is. It's not you don't have to worry if the
not
kids are
raw.
exactly. You don't
Right.
have to worry if the kids are in the car
Right.
if you put on a Promise song.
And
but-
I don't even like think about it too because the songs are so good. that
Exactly,
I'm just
yes.
Right.
I'm like, yeah.
I mean, kind of going back to what
know.
you're saying. You know, you're just that songwriter, and you choose your words.
Daniel and I were talking about this. It's kind of a problem because my demographic in my mind, if I had to narrow down, which I can't, but if I had to, it's nothing near that. But everybody listens to my music, so I fear a couple of the songs that are gonna come out. They're not really. They are family friendly, but I mean, like, I don't know, like, on one song I say, I think I performed it today. It's like, tell them demons go to hell. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't
think about it.
really want my kids saying that.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? There's certain things that's, I mean, obviously it's still radio friendly and stuff like that.
Right.
But
I think that's the better word, radio friendly.
yeah,
I think
but
that's the better.
it's hard to. But I mean, radio changes.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff
Yes.
they allow on radio now that I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yes.
And
That's-
hell is a real place, so you
Right.
could still claim that.
Yeah, and I use it in context. That's
Yeah,
my
yeah,
thing
yeah.
is if you use it in
Yeah.
context, it's not
We
profanity.
were just listening to one of your
right?
songs on the way here.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
Yeah.
In the words of George Carlin, words are words unless you use them in the wrong context.
Yeah. So but still, like, I have another song that I did and I changed the hook, but because I just found it was too much, and it's like it makes sense and it's perfectly grammatical and whatever, but at the end of the hook, each line he's saying, it's killing me, it's killing me, it's killing me, and like, I'm like, it's a bit much. So I changed the hook, but
So you're so thoughtful about what you're writing and what you are gonna put out. So that kind of just goes towards your artistry.
But it's
you
a
know?
gift and a curse because it's like sometimes, and I didn't write that hook,
perfectionism.
so I don't feel as bad.
Right.
But like sometimes it's like I feel like art is expression. Like you
Right.
shouldn't have to change it, which is why
Right.
I feel like if somebody wants to swear, as dumb as I may think it is in that situation, if it's their expression, I
Right.
respect
Right.
that.
Right.
I may not understand it, but that just means to me it's not for me,
Right.
and not
Yeah.
all art is for anybody. It's
Yeah.
sometimes it's just for that person to
Right.
Yeah.
to release that or whatever.
Yeah.
Tell Lauren and I get out our frustrations. We just swear.
Oh,
Random swear here and there.
Yes, and that is like, thank you.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just, I'm like, let me be me, and it just doesn't always make for a polite conversation, especially in the South. They're like, oh my God, you can't say that. So,
Oh my dear,
yeah,
you have
literally,
completely offended my southern.
yeah, literally like a woman no less tried, I didn't even cuss on Facebook, but she told me to take a post down because it was too real or something, or it was like,
What?
it was like really like, I was talking about musicians and how they compete socially on social media. With I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this,
Constant
and it's like
posting.
spam, and
Pretty much.
and the other musicians are doing it too, buddy. So chill,
Right. Right.
like have a schedule, like do Monday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
Friday, and don't be like I'm doing this today. And it's like the same thing that they post on their story and on their Instagram and on their Facebook. It's like a 3 post in
Yeah.
one day, and it's every single day. And I'm like, chill, because you got to think about your audience, and that's really what I was trying to say. But it's like it came off snarky or something, and I'm like, that's y'all saw my post today. I'm
Yes.
like
Yes.
done with some of the toxic nature I think that comes into that. And I don't know how we got onto that topic.
It's good though. It's
Letting it out.
Let it out.
It's hard though because while I completely agree with what she's saying, I also see and have been told about the other side where it's like, Instagram and their stupid algorithm that
Yes.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
doesn't
The
let
algorithm
all
hunt.
the people that signed up to hear from you can
Yeah.
now not hear from you. Only
Right.
10% can hear
That's
from you
so
unless X amount of people engage in the first hour and all of this sort of stuff. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you want to reach more of your friends and tell them about your life? Well, pay us.
What? No.
I've seen that a lot.
So that's Instagram, and then Facebook has so much spam and bad content
Yeah.
that
Oh, yeah.
people
Oh, God, it's awful.
the timelines are changing so quick they
Yes.
don't see. So I have people who are real close to me who just can't see it unless I directly give it to them, and I
Yeah. You
can't
don't have
do
time to
that.
be
I don't even
that,
have
right?
that many followers.
Right.
Maybe across the board, maybe 15,000, but like
Yeah.
I can't even tell my 10 closest friends like I have to start like WhatsApp groups and text groups and stuff like that to really let people know. Even my family, let my sister know. I have to try to remember to tell her, hey, I just posted a song today.
Yeah.
Because if I post it on Instagram or wherever, they still might not see it.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
It's the algorithm.
You're still making music?
Yeah.
What? Just release a song every month. What do you mean? I didn't hear anything since 3 years ago. What?
Right.
It's a tragedy for us artists who we have to keep working on this digital hustle.
Sucks.
Because I used to be really good about just reaching everybody through an old-fashioned
Right.
phone call, or maybe the most modern, a text saying, hey y'all, I'm doing this, here's what's happening. And it really breaks my heart that I can't like reach out to family first and then the friends and then keeping that momentum going for all of
Right.
us. Now we're just trying to do this algorithm hunt.
Yeah.
And it's just heartbreaking, honestly, in my truly honest opinion about it.
Yeah, and I'm taking a social media course still, and I haven't finished it. But when I'm done with it, I'm gonna keep up with all the updates and just see how artists can really maximize on this and do it the right way. I've also looked up
Work
Instagram strategies. I think it's called the $1.80 strategy,
Yeah.
where you use all the right you use 30 hashtags, and I've used 30 hashtags for a long time now. It does work, but you have to do 2 posts a day, and you have to spend 30 minutes after every post, to engage with every single post. And when you think about it, it does take a long time sometimes to make a post.
Right.
Because you got to edit the photo. When you put it up, you got to put the right caption that'll be nice and, happy or whatever. Yeah. And then all the hashtags, and think about all the hashtags you haven't used. And you kind of have to keep like a spreadsheet of the every
That's
campaign.
crazy.
It's sickening.
It is.
It's
It's
crazy.
I mean, I do social media content calendars all the time now,
Right.
and I'm like,
That's like
I'm
a
tired.
full-time job right there.
It takes like 4 hours for
Oh my
like
God.
2 weeks of
I
posts.
literally
Insane.
plan a post like days before, just kind of get the wheels turning on it.
And then
Yeah.
they have those like peak hours where they're like, hey,
Oh,
maximize.
God,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's bad. No, I hate it. Yeah. I was trying to find a lighter word, but no, it's true. I hate it. The artists can't. Well, in this day and age, I'm hoping it changes. I don't know if it will, but artists can't be artists.
Right.
They're pushing us or telling us that we have to be content creators.
Right.
We have to. All of us. Like I was out here. I had to. Or buy a camera. I've never bought a camera in my life. I had to buy a camera because you need visuals.
It has to have a good resolution.
Doesn't matter if your music's great. You need oh my goodness.
And
And,
the
then you need to remember to post.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's so many
You have to
things.
remember to edit.
Oh my gosh.
It's so much more juggling we're doing now,
Right.
and it's sad though that back then Lauren and I watched this documentary on Netflix about James Brown. It's a really good one.
Yeah.
Highly recommend watching it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
James Brown, we love this quote, says music is actually 30% creating the music, 70% the business.
I thought he said 80-20, but maybe.
No, it's a
Okay.
70-30. Yeah, and it really
I was going to say 80-20 is kind of high.
It
No,
is.
actually,
That's what I really
our
thought that.
our friend BW said it's
that.
now it's more
80-20.
80-20.
Some people say I've heard 90-10, so that's good.
That's because they can't do music at all.
Yeah. So maybe they're talking about music right now with the mumble rap.
Right.
And the
Exactly.
So
Right.
like
They're
it's
thinking
like 5
like
to 10%
that.
talent, and the
Right.
rest is just visuals, viral, money, marketing,
Who you know,
Marketing, yeah.
pass this
relationships.
along.
Yeah.
Side note on the mumble rap stuff, like when we went to New York City, we saw Thundercat. Oh my God, he's so amazing at Blue
The
Note,
best.
the Blue Note, and Reggie Watts, comedian, opened
yeah,
up for him,
right.
and he was like he was talking about something completely different, and then he just kind of sidetracked, and he went, "What's with rappers today? Mumble rappers. They always do and then he went on a whole thing just doing that for like 5 minutes. I don't know, 3 minutes, whatever.
It was
and
like 2 or 3.
So funny. It was
Yeah, his whole thing that night was actually just he beatboxed his music in this really humorous way. And he's like, this next song is a popular track, they're written just for the everyday audience, and he just started doing.
yeah, actually, that's pretty good. It was very entertaining.
It was hilarious. It started making just ambient noises, Star Trek sounds with a microphone. I'm just like, yeah, this is for everyday people.
Yeah. I'm literally sitting here like, what is that? I want to hear it now.
Yeah.
No, he was hilarious. And then the other night was Hannibal Buress for Valentine's Day.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
That was
Yeah.
super fun.
But anyway.
Anywho.
All right.